Okay, welcome back to the channel everybody. So, brand new driver to review for you today in this video. It's Tour Edge Exotics and it's the new pro version of the 721 driver. So I have recently, or a few months back, done the review of the 721. Fantastic performing driver. Put a link, you can go and check that out. Great looking club, performed really well. Got some great numbers with that. They've now introduced a limited edition pro version. So really more aimed at that, maybe that lower handicap golf for somebody who's looking for a little bit more lower spin, a bit more of a penetrate ball flight. Loads of technology to talk about. We're going to do that. Wow. Trackman on the floor, provide you with some numbers and performance, obviously my personal feedback of the way this club looks and performs. Okay, so before we jump into hitting some golf balls and seeing how this new driver is performing, I want you to comment down below and tell me your thoughts on Tour Edge. Is that a brand that you've actually heard of to start off with? And if you have, is it a brand that maybe you've had it in the bag in the past or currently in the bag at the moment? I'd love to hear your thoughts as always. Here in the UK, Tour Edge isn't massively available to in every sort of shop you go into. I think there's some stockists, but it's quite limited over here. A bit bigger in the States, obviously big on the US senior tour, likes of Tom Lehman, Bernard Langer, those sort of guys are playing Tour Edge as well as many others. So for me, in the past when I've tested it, it's always been really good product. Looks good, and again, this with the pro version, as I mentioned, probably aimed at a little bit more that better player here, you know, with that more compact, or somebody's looking for a lower spin driver. First instincts, it looks great. Matte black against the gloss and the standard 721. We're now matte, which looks superb. It gives it a real sort of mean look down by that golf ball. Loads of technology we're going to talk about in a minute, but let's get one underway. Oof, and that is an absolute bullet. That's come out really low and forward. That's going to have a bit of trot on that. Yeah, let's get out 311. Just cut that a little bit low in the face, probably just that launch did get a little bit low there, but so good sort of ball speed, just short 166, land angle hot. Tons of run on that, getting out at 311, not a bad opening tee shot there. So talk a little bit more about the head on the pro version. It's a 440cc head, so 20cc smaller than typically a standard driver, so a little bit more compact from that heel to the toe, a little bit more compact from the front to the back, a bit more squat position, sits incredibly square. Now the biggest thing or visual technology we've got here is what Tour Edge call their ridgeback technology, so this sort of spine coming through. So what we've got here is like carbon wings, so to speak, so you can see where the carbon effect is on the toe. It wraps around under the sole on the toe, and the same in that heel, wrapping under that heel section. So replacing titanium with carbon obviously is going to save weight. They're repositioning that weight more in that central position, low and forward for that low spin, which is what the pro version is all about, is reducing that sort of spin a little bit more. But yeah, behind that golf ball, you know, with it being black face, black head on matte, a little bit of that grey, and I think that ridgeback sort of shape there with that spine that runs down the back does sort of help, I think, with a lot with alignment of the actual club face. I mean, I sit the club down, it just sits square anyway, but I think anybody who has any issues maybe just with face alignment, I think that ridgeback there just goes right through that golf ball, just sort of frames it away in a certain way. Just working a touch up that left, but that's a solid contact. It is a very piercing, that looks to have gone a long way. Yeah, 310 on that one as well, just a tiny bit low. So it's coming out quite low there, sort of 9-degree spin low. So it's doing what it's designed to do, really. You know, I think for that golfer with the highest swing speed, again, it all depends on the delivery and your dynamic loft that you present at impact, but it is designed for that sort of lower launch, lower spin. Imagine hitting that back into the wind, it's going to be really powerful. I'll just pull that so that will come out a touch lower. Again, touch low, but I tell you what, that is like a bullet. I think that's just dropped a tiny bit, but not, yeah, see, that's, I mean, look how low that was, but ball speed off that low strike is incredible. You know, 167 on that low connection there. So I think that low forward CG is helping me a little bit there. Obviously, spin's popped up a little bit because of the low strike, but I tell you what, as a miss there, I mean, that's low, it's straight, but it's out there, isn't it? So the other big technology or talking point on the Tour Edge drivers, I've seen this on previous models, is the diamond face 2.0. So behind the actual club face itself, on the inside of the driver, there's 43 different size and shapes of like diamond shapes basically, which overlap each other. So creating like little hot spots in the driver, little mini sort of trampolines all around the club face. So what Tour Edge is saying here is helping on ball speed, not just the center connections, but also those miss hits there in terms of keeping ball speed up across the face. Oh, there we go. That was a better strike. That's a touch higher, and that is out there. Wow. 287 carry, 318. 2000 spin, launch 11. So better strike there. See higher up that club face, got that launch into 11, not 9. Again, that's my strike, not really the club. Great ball speed, 167, great control that spin. And honestly, I just wish you could see that flight in real life. I know it's on simulator there, but just seeing that, it just really goes forward and flat on its flight. I mean, I'm just thinking, turning into the wind, that is going to be piercing like you wouldn't believe. So, other thing we'll talk about in the Pro Driver, we've got 2 adjustable weight positionings here on the sole of the club, and the position in the heel and the toe, but very forward in the face. So again, it's all about getting that CG forward, low spin, low launch, which we're sort of seeing. 2 weights here, as standard, they come as a 12 gram and a 3 gram, and the 12 gram, again, as standard, will be fitted into the toe, okay? So 3 in the heel, so slowing that toe down. So really maybe a club that's trying to be a little bit more anti-left, so typically the better player who would be going into this, or your lower handicap golfer going into this, doesn't like to see the ball miss left. So a bit of weight in that toe slows that down, just prevents that face maybe from closing down a little bit. Obviously they can be switched over if you wanted to, so if you are a bit more of a fade bias player, you can pop that 12 into the heel section. And there is some additional weights available. I think you might have to purchase these separately, but a 6, a 9 and a 15 gram weight as well, so you can obviously fine tune, maybe a bit of swing weighting as well, or if you really want to slow a certain part of the club down to help your particular shot shape, then they are also available. Oh, that's lovely. That's a good flight. I love that flight. If I can just make sure I get my strike a bit up that club face, I get the launch right, there's that spin again around that low 2000s. Very, very good numbers. A very solid feeling golf club there. We've got that bit of that slightly more muted sound with that carbon in there. There is like a sound diffuser system in here, which is basically on the inside, some like strips of bars, which basically there just break up sound waves and get that acoustics right, which I think is very important. Generally the low handicap golfer tends to be a little bit more fussy on the sound. The sound tends to be a little bit more of a feel to us as golfers, so it's important to get that sound in that right area. So, and if you interested in the shafts out there, what I've got in this is a Hazardous Smoke Rdx. There is many other options that are available. 6.5, which is a little bit more of a low spin characteristics. As standard, the shaft comes in at 45 inches of length, which is what this is. So probably a good half to sometimes 3/4 of an inch shorter than typically you see other brands as their standard. Again, through custom you can obviously build it to your desired length, but it's just nice to see it come as a 45.5. And to be honest, the club head speed I'm getting there at 115. I feel confident with that. I have my driver around that 45 mark. Don't always go long, even though I'm 6'5". I don't play the driver at its full length. Touch up the right, touch higher, but still, that's going forward. 165. See, very consistent, and just the little subtleties of the strikes. See, launching around that 11, 12 when I get my strike, just up that club face a little bit. 2000 spin again, so the spin looks to be really, really consistent, and definitely in that lower area, which is, I think I can get it around there. As long as my launch is there, I maximise my carry distance there, but a really great penetrating ball flight. So that fine tuning of dialing this in, we've got adjustable hosel here, so lots of little different sort of settings, and I'll pop this up on screen so you can just sort of digest and see which does what to the loft and lie. But basically we can go up or down by up to 2 degrees of loft. So I've got 9.5, so effectively I can get down to 7.5 or move that up to 11.5. As you do that, it will change that lying a little bit. So a standard 57 degree on that lie, but the degree of the lie can move up to 3 degrees as well. So there is a little bit of adjustability there to help with that lie, which is a little bit of shot direction, as well as loft, which is a little bit fine tuning that launch, maybe a little bit of that spin as well. Oh, really enjoying hitting that. Really enjoying hitting that. That's one bounce in the trees at the back of the range there, and the range is 300, so there's a 288, and then boom, ball's disappeared into the trees. Don't tell the lads I'm losing the balls out the back of the range here. Ball speed 168, just gaining lots of confidence, getting that spin in a really good consistent area. So availability wise in the Tour Edge Exotics Pro version is a 9.5, 10.5. Unfortunately for you lefties, it's right hand only. Okay, but obviously you've got that adjustability through that loft for you if you want to dial that in. I do believe this is a limited edition, and I think the numbers are obviously limited on the production, so I'm not sure how long these are going to be out and available for, but if you're interested, make sure you go and maybe have a look at it sooner rather than later. I've also got a 3-wood and a hybrid. I'm going to do a review. I'm going to do that in a separate video, but before we do that, let's just go and check a few numbers and see how that is performing. Okay, so quick look at the dispersion here, I think, is obviously always important. This looking on sort of carry, let's just move this into total here, so you can see total there all over that 300 marker. Really quite consistent, maybe from that front to back. Just had that one I've left out there, but do you know what? That's, what is that, about 28, 29 yards right of that centre line. Could be just into that rough a little bit up that right. The others I think would be probably hitting that fairway, just clinging onto the fairway with that left shot. So I'm quite happy with that dispersion, really. Didn't seem to get a lot of curvature on the golf ball there. Did seem to be quite a straight flying shot, even though that was out to the right. It didn't really fade or cut massively to the right, and the same with that, it was a bit more of a push, a bit more of a pull. A little bit, obviously, my performance there. And then looking at the numbers there, so you see club head speed 114.4, so quite typical for me. Bearing in mind that is a 45-inch length on the shaft, so it's not the longest, you know, another half inch, another 3/4 of an inch that many other brands sort of offers there. Standard possibly edging that to 116, maybe 117. Did feel like I was swinging that quite freely today. I think there's a bit of confidence with the club in your hands as well. So ball speed 166, again quite a consistent ball speed. I did hit some low in the face, didn't it, which actually surprised me. See, these first 3 shots were a little bit low in the face. The launch angle comes low, but the ball speed didn't drop massively compared to some of these others which I hit a little bit higher in the face, 165, 168. You know, it's not a big drop off of ball speed, so maybe quite forgiving on that up and down on that strike of that particular drive, especially on those low hits. So you can see spin there at 2-1, and again really consistent and tight on that spin number. You know, again, as I move my strike around, you know, 2-4, that was that slightly higher strike there, dropping down to 2,000. So with a drive, that's a really tight sort of spin consistency, really, which is great. There's no high spinners, which sometimes I'm prone to putting an odd couple in there. So carry number 281, so you can see we've got a range from that 270, which again there's that low strike, but you know, from a fairly decent strike, maybe that 274 up to 288. Yeah, that's pretty good, but all running well over that 300 marker, and really good sort of descent angle, 31 degrees. That's coming in hot. That's going to really want to get and trot on when it lands. Fantastic. There we go. Hats off to Tour Edge again. Yet another fantastic product there. A great looking club for me personally. That slightly more compact head, that matte black. I love the fact that it sits really square. Great. Got a little bit of that fade biased in there just to maybe get rid of my little pulley one sometimes. So, but I've got the adjustability to work that round. Great offering. So post comments down, let me know your thoughts on the Tour Edge. As I mentioned, the 3-wood and the hybrid. The hybrid's a quirky little thing. Excited to hit that. I've just got it over there, so I'm going to you know, film that next, and hopefully that will be coming very shortly after this. So do hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, so as soon as that video drops you will not miss it. You'll get a notification, and hopefully we'll catch up with you all very soon.